Hi, everyone. Welcome to the channel. My name is Nick Cosgrove, and I'm back with this week's No Filter Q&A. This is the episode where I answer all questions related to dietary, nutrition, supplementation, and training that I've received from our in-house clients, online clients, as well as a few of our online followers over the last 7 days. Remember, if you have any questions related to your workouts, your diet, or supplements that you're taking or not taking or considering taking, please feel free to email me at nick@foreverfitperformance.com. Or you can also DM them to me on my Instagram, which is fitcosgrove_. All right, so without further ado, let's get started to our first question of the week. Okay, here we go. Hi, Nick. I'm curious as to your thoughts on decline chest presses. I'm following one of your chest workouts on the online app and wondering as to why you don't include any decline presses in the chest routines. Okay, so for those that don't know, I have an online training app that I created back in the summer of 2021. This is a monthly subscription that includes access to all my training programs and all my nutritional plans that I've designed for the past 10 plus years. And this person's asking me questions with regards to my chest routines. So if you are interested in joining our online training app or would like more information on that, feel free to email me at nick@foreverfitperformance.com, and I'd be happy to answer any questions you have. But yeah, you have access to all my training programs and all my diet plans that I've done over the last 10 plus years, as well as all the diet plans and training programs that I did when I used to compete on stage that I would follow myself. Okay, so in this person's case, they're asking with regards to decline chest presses. I've never been a fan of decline chest press movements. I believe I did them for the first year I was training, and if anything, I never felt decline presses, whether I used a barbell or dumbbells in my chest. I always felt them in my delts and I always felt them in my triceps, but I never felt them in my chest. And then again, if you look at a basic anatomy chart and you look at the way that the human body is structured, doing a decline press movement is such a limited range of motion, and you're not going to really recruit much chest fibers when you're doing that movement because it's so limited. So you're going to be using primarily your rotator cuffs, and primarily, again, come down to your arms, your triceps to push that weight up. So I don't find decline presses to be that effective if you're trying to build up your pecs, especially if you're trying to build up your pec major. In that case, what I usually recommend people do is focus on a lot of incline work, whether it be low incline barbell presses, high incline dumbbell presses, or low incline dumbbell flies. I find those to be really effective if you're trying to build up your chest. But when it comes to decline movements, I don't recommend doing decline movements. So you'll never find one of my chest routines online that includes any decline presses whatsoever. Okay, next question. Nick, are there any protein bars that you recommend? I don't always have time for a meal in between meetings and wondering if you could recommend a good bar. I'm not a fan of protein bars. I never have been. I never use them. If I'm working with someone and they're in a situation like this person is in, where they're in back-to-back meetings and they can't fit a quick meal in, then I'll recommend they have Quest bars. So the Quest nutrition line, not terrible. Again, not my go-to, but if I'm in a situation where the person I'm working with has to have a protein bar and there's nothing else they can have, I'll tell them to have a Quest nutrition bar. What I like about Quest nutrition bars is they contain 1 or 2 grams of sugar. So they're fairly low in sugar, very low in carbs, and quite high in protein actually. So, and moderate fat. So they're okay. They get the job done. But again, this would be as a second resort. I wouldn't use this as my primary fuel source. I do recommend to all clients to get the bulk of their nutrition through natural food sources. So protein bars and post-workout shakes or protein shakes, I'm not a big fan of using them. I will use protein shakes in people's plans, but I'll usually also add in natural peanut butter, or I'll have them add in a couple of eggs, not to their shake, but to have the eggs on the side, just so they're getting some whole food sources into that meal as well. So if you're going to use a protein bar, I would recommend Quest Nutrition. And yeah, just be careful though, because there are some Quest products that are a little bit higher in sugar. So I'm talking about the protein bars that contain no more than 2 grams of sugar per bar. Okay, just so we're clear. So Quest Nutrition bars, if you're going to have a protein bar, that's what I'd recommend. All right, next question. Hi, Nick. Do you ever do behind the neck pull downs and barbell presses? I see a lot of people doing these movements on YouTube, but always heard they are dangerous. Yeah, again, when it comes to behind the neck movements, I don't do them. and I don't have my clients do them. When I first started training in my younger years, when I was about 15, 16, I used to do a lot of behind the neck pull downs and behind the neck presses. And I actually had a lot of shoulder issues earlier on when I first started training. And what I noticed was that plane of motion is not a natural plane of motion for the body to go into. It puts a lot of emphasis on the rotator cuffs. Whether you're doing a pull down or whether you're doing a press, puts a lot of pressure on those rotator cuffs and the neck erectors. So I don't do either of those movements. I don't have any of my clients do either of those movements either. What I'd rather have clients do is doing a regular lat pull down or a reverse grip lat pull down or a barbell military press or barbell or dumbbell shoulder press. I find those are 4 great exercises if you're trying to bring up your delts, you're trying to bring up your lats. You don't need to do behind the neck movements. I know there are people that will do behind the neck movements. I know there are some people out there who swear by doing behind the neck movements. But if you're asking me for my personal opinion on this, I would suggest that you do not do these movements because I really believe they put the body in a very compromised position and they can lead to injury. I talked about this last week on the show as well. When you're looking at an exercise, you have to weigh its risk to benefit ratio. So if there's more risk doing this exercise and it puts you at risk of injury, it's not worth doing. And that's why, for example, I'm not a big fan of doing deadlifts. I'm not saying don't do deadlifts, but most people I know that do deadlifts have been injured at some point. So you have to really look at the exercise for what it is and say, okay, do I really need to do this movement? And when it comes to behind the neck movements, the answer is no, you don't. You can develop a great physique without doing either behind the neck pull downs or behind the neck presses. So I would avoid these exercises at all costs. And I would stick to the 4 exercises that I mentioned: barbell military press, dumbbell shoulder press, wide grip lat pull down, reverse grip lat pull down. You can even throw in a closed grip lat pull down as well. There's 5 exercises. All right, next exercise. Our next question, sorry. Hi, Nick. Why did you stop competing in bodybuilding? Do you ever get the urge to compete on stage again when you're working with your bodybuilding clients? I stopped competing in bodybuilding because COVID happened. It had nothing to do with any health issues. COVID happened. The competition season was canceled, just like most things around the world were canceled. And now we're slowly coming out of COVID. There's more shows happening now on the amateur circuit. But to tell you the truth, I don't have the urge to compete anymore. I've moved on. There's other things that I want to accomplish in life now. I have new goals, a lot of business ventures that I'm taking part in right now. I don't necessarily have time to focus on a bodybuilding show, nor do I have the desire anymore. I'm not saying that I'll never compete again. I don't have the urge. I don't have the desire to step on stage right now. Now, when it comes to working with my bodybuilding clients and my bikini competitors, I absolutely love that. That to me is fun because I'm living kind of vicariously through them. So I really like training with those type of clients. Getting them ready for a show, those last week of depleting the water or manipulating so I don't really manipulate sodium, but manipulating the carbohydrates, that's fun for me. And when a client, whether they win or whether they place 3rd place or 5th place, I feel like I'm part of that win. So I enjoy that. But I have no desire to get back on stage anytime soon. And like I said, I'm not saying that I'll never step on stage again, but for the time being, I'm really busy right now with our business, along with a few other business ventures that I have going on right now. So I wouldn't be putting in my full focus and full attention necessary to do well at a show. And I did a lot of shows over the last 10 years. I mean, I was doing about 3 or 4 shows a year at one point, and that's a lot of shows. So it was good to give the body a rest, and I'm enjoying my workouts now. Back when I used to compete, I never really enjoyed the workouts. I thought it was like going to a job. Now I actually have fun with my workouts. So from now, no plans to get back on stage, but I'm never going to say never because you never know what's going to happen. But no, I don't miss it right now. I'm having fun just working on our business and other business ventures, but no plans to compete anytime soon. Okay, next question. Nick, how often do you recommend to your clients to have cheat meals? And is there a particular cheat meal that you recommend to your clients to have? Also, what are your favorite cheat meals that you like to consume? 3-part question. Okay, let me answer the first part of this question. So how often do I recommend my clients have cheat meals? That really depends on the individual that I'm working with. If I'm working with someone who has a fast metabolism, I might give them 2 to 3 cheat meals a week. If I'm working with someone who has a slower metabolism, I might give them 1 cheat meal once a week or even 1 cheat meal every 2 weeks. It also depends on their goals and their lifestyle. If someone's goal is to lose 20 pounds within the next 2 months, I have to be very careful how I diet them down. And I don't want to necessarily give them an abundance amount of cheat meals. Same thing, I have to look at the psychological component behind cheat meals for a lot of people too. One cheat meal can turn into a cheat day for a lot of people, especially if they're emotional eaters. So you have to take into consideration a few factors when you're recommending cheat meals to people. Now, when it comes to a particular cheat meal, there's no one set cheat meal that I say you should have this. But what I do is I keep notes on clients' cheat meals. So when they send me their weekly check-ins, Thursday mornings for my American clients, Friday mornings for my Canadian clients, I always ask them to include what they had as their cheat meal. And the reason I ask that is so that I can find out how they performed the following week. Did they have any digestive issues? Did they retain water weight for a longer period of time than they normally do? Were they weaker in the gym? Were they tired throughout the week? Those are all questions that they answer, that I ask if they answer, and I'll base that on, well, you did have that frozen yogurt and maybe you're a little bit lactose intolerant, so maybe we shouldn't have that cheat meal a day. Let's try for a burger and fries. I had one of my clients who's been working with me on his nutritional plan for the past 2 years, and he's religious with his burger and fries. He has that every Friday afternoon. He goes to Five Guys, he has his burger, he has a stack of fries, his large Coke, and he's good. He has no digestive issues. He wakes up the next day, he's 2 pounds over what he normally is, and then he loses all that weight come Sunday morning. So we know what works for his body, and he's okay with that one cheat meal. So when it comes to cheat meals, I always tell clients, you have to find what works well with your body. And I also tell clients to have what you're craving, but don't overdo it. That's why it's a cheat meal and not a cheat day. When it comes to my favorite cheat meal, I'll be completely honest, I haven't done a cheat meal since August of 2020. And that's when I had my appendix removed. Ever since I had my appendix removed, I don't crave sugar. I don't crave greasy. I don't crave salty foods. I don't know the relation between the two. I just don't crave it anymore. So I don't have cheat meals anymore. I used to have those stack of cookies that Robin used to make for me, but I don't crave them anymore. I never consume them. I used to have pizza as cheat meals. I used to have burgers and fries as cheat meals. And I used to do cheat meals 2 or 3 times a week. But now maybe it's because I'm older. I find that food doesn't work well for me. It doesn't settle well with my stomach. I feel hungover the next day when I have it. So I don't consume cheat meals anymore. But I do recommend to clients who I work with to have at least one cheat meal a week. And again, to have what they're craving. But I even work with some people when they have their cheat meals, they just want some more of the food that's already on their plan. So if I'm working with someone and they really like, say, peanut butter, for example, they might say, well, I'm going to have my cheat meal as extra peanut butter and some oatmeal. I'm like, okay, go for it. That's what you want. That's what you want. Have what you're craving. If you're craving fruit that's not on your plan, have that fruit in a fruit salad, right? Go ahead. I have some clients that want to have certain vegetables that I don't include on their plan. So I would say, well, go out to a restaurant, have your steak and fries, but maybe have a salad on top of that and have those vegetables mixed in the salad. So just get your craving out of the way. So you're not having that craving for those type of foods, right? So cheat meal can be whatever you like, but just make sure it works well with your body. And if it doesn't, make sure not to have it again. All right, next question. Hi, Nick. Do you train your forearms? I really like to develop that veiny look in my forearms and have been doing barbell and dumbbell wrist curls for the past few months, but I'm not seeing any change. Okay, so when it comes to your forearm extensors and your forearm flexors, this really is a genetic thing, okay? Some people are naturally very vascular, right? And some people aren't. I'm someone who actually is not very vascular. The only time I would ever really see veins popping out of my forearms was when I was about 2 or 3 days out from a bodybuilding show. And at that point, I was depleting my carbohydrates, I was depleting my water, and you could really start, and I was like at 4 or 5% body fat. So that's where you could really see the veins popping out. Year round though, I walk around, you can see an outline of my veins, but they're not popping out of my skin. When I was younger, I used to do forearm exercises. I used to do a lot of barbell curls, dumbbell curls. But what I found is that put a lot of emphasis on my wrist flexors, and it was really bothering my wrist. So it really was creating an issue when I would do barbell curls or dumbbell curls, or even like rope extensions or cable press downs on my wrists. So I couldn't focus on my arms anymore. So I stopped doing forearm work. And I don't give any of my clients forearm work. I find forearm work to be more of an accessory work. And you have to remember, this comes back down to looking at an anatomy chart again. if you're looking at your forearms and you look at point A from point B, there's very little muscle between this area. It's basically made up of bone and tendon. So by you doing exercises with weights for that area, you're really putting a lot of strain on your bones and your tendons especially. So I would advise you not to do any forearm curls whatsoever, whether that's barbell curls or dumbbell curls for your forearms. I'm not talking about for your biceps, I'm talking about for your forearms. If you've been doing this for the last 6 months, like you're saying that you've been doing these barbell curls and dumbbell curls for your wrist flexors or your forearm extensors, and you're not noticing any results, chances are you're not going to notice results if you continue to do this. This is your genetics. So I don't know you personally, so I'd have to assess your physique and look at your body fat levels. But one thing you could try if you are trying to become a little bit more vascular is to take your body fat levels down a little bit, because obviously the lower your body fat is, the more vascular you are going to look. But don't expect dramatic change, because if you're someone who's just not genetically predisposed to get vascular forearms, you're never going to get them. And that's genetics. I mean, the genetics are a bitch. We don't all win the genetic lottery, right? If I did, I'd be a professional bodybuilder, but that's another reason why I don't necessarily push it in bodybuilding, because I know my genetics. I don't have elite genetics. I know that I cannot get to that level, right? There are some people that can be professional basketball players. Yes, that's hard work and talent, but a lot of it is genetics. So you have to know your genetics, and instead of work against them, work with them. Say, okay, well, maybe I can't become more vascular, but you know what? I can really build a good foundation on muscle mass. Right? So you have to look at your body and make a really honest assessment and decide, okay, am I an ectomorph and am I an endomorph? Or am I a combination of maybe a mesomorph, endomorph, or mesomorph, ectomorph? And once you know your body type, you can kind of work with that and design a training program for yourself and a nutritional plan that will work specifically for you. All right, next question. Nick, I've been intermittent fasting for the past 3 days. Worked up to 13 hours of fasting so far, and I would like to know if you think I could do intermittent fasting 5 days a week and then return to my regular 6 meals scattered throughout the day on the weekends. Will I lose muscle if I follow an eating plan like this? Okay, so with intermittent fasting, I have spoken about intermittent fasting in great detail before. I've written a few blogs about it. I actually like intermittent fasting. I think intermittent fasting is a really healthy way to eat, but if you are trying to build muscle and lose body fat, I don't believe it to be an optimal diet plan to follow. From a health component, though, if you have a medical condition or you're going through, let's say, a cancer treatment, you're going through chemotherapy, I find intermittent fasting can be very beneficial. I know a few people actually who have suffered from IBS issues, Crohn's, colitis, and intermittent fasting works exceptionally well for these types of people. But if your goal is to build muscle and lose body fat, I wouldn't recommend intermittent fasting. Now, in this person's case, they're asking me if they can combine the two, like a bodybuilding diet plan, which is the 5 to 6 meals a day on the weekends, and intermittent fasting Monday to Friday. I would advise you not to do this. And the reason I would advise you not to do this is this is going to have an impact on your blood sugar levels, your blood glucose levels, and your insulin levels. You don't want to be eating a certain way 5 days a week, and then the other 2 days going back doing 6 days a week. So if you are 6 meals a day, for example, so you shouldn't be fasting for 18 hours Monday to Friday, and then all of a sudden the weekends hit and say, well, you know what, I'm just going to eat every 3 or 4 hours. That's going to really shock your body in a way that you're not going to like. You're going to notice that you get a little bit more tired more easily. You might actually notice that as your blood sugars levels drop quite quickly, you might get a little bit more cranky, a little bit more irritable. And that's because all week your body has been working on this fasting period where you've been fasting for 13, 18 hours. And then all of a sudden you're feeding the body every 3 or 4 hours on the weekend. So you're shocking the body, but you're shocking the body in the wrong way. So if you're going to do intermittent fasting, my recommendation is stick to it 7 days a week. Now, there might be the odd time you want to go out for brunch with a few friends and that breaks your fasting period. Fine, do that. But I wouldn't schedule weekends as your time to break your fast. If it happens once in a while, no big deal. But if you're doing that continuously, I think you're going to notice that you're just going to notice the lack of energy. You're going to notice your strength in the gym decreases. So do one or the other. Don't do both. Okay. Sorry, there's an ambulance going on outside. But do one or the other. And if you can, this is a big one too. If you can, what I recommend doing when it comes to intermittent fasting is try to do a true intermittent fast. And a true intermittent fast is going to be for 18 hours and see how you feel. And if you can do that and you feel great and you do that for 5-6 days and you're feeling really good, keep doing it, right? As long as it doesn't impact your workouts, as long as you still feel strong. The problem I have with intermittent fasting, though, and I've noticed this with clients who've tried it, it's not sustainable. They'll do it for maybe a week or 2 weeks, but then after that, it's just not sustainable. Whether it's be social events or whether it be they have to work out at a different time and they have to break their fast to get their pre-workout meal in, it just doesn't work. So as long as it fits your lifestyle and your goals, I say go for it. I don't believe intermittent fasting to be a fad diet, but I would recommend that if you are going to do it, stick with it 7 days a week. Don't just do it 5 days a week and then go back to a typical bodybuilding diet, which is that 5 to 6 meals 2 days on, right? I wouldn't recommend doing that at all. Okay, next question. Hey, Nick, do I really need to vary my workouts in order to achieve better results? I have an upper body workout and a lower body workout that I like to follow twice each during the week. I don't know that many exercises, and I feel comfortable with the exercises that I am currently doing. Is this counterproductive, though? If you're in the gym 4 days a week and you're doing your lower body twice a week with the exact same workouts, and you're doing your upper body twice a week with the exact same workouts, in my opinion, you are overtraining those muscle groups. And what's going to happen is they're not going to get enough time to recover, which means you're not going to develop optimal growth. At the same time, you risk injury from overtraining those muscle groups. So if you're on a 4-day training split, my recommendation is to split up your muscle groups. An example of that might be chest and back on one day, shoulders and arms on one day, quads on one day, and then the 4th day, do some hamstrings, glutes, and abs. There you go. You got all different muscle groups on a 4-day split. Any trainer that you hire or work with will tell you the exact same thing. I promise you. Any knowledgeable or reputable trainer will tell you that exact same thing. So my recommendation, if you don't know enough exercises, is that you hire one of those trainers in your area and say to them, hey, look, hire them for 6 sessions, maybe 12 sessions, and say, look, I don't know that many exercises, but I can commit to working out 4 days a week. Can you help me develop a training split that will allow me to maximize my goals and maximize my results in the gym? Doing what you're doing right now, in my opinion, is not going to produce maximum results. If anything, it's going to produce injuries and overtraining. So for that reason, I would recommend splitting that up to a 4-day training split, working a different muscle group, working it hard, 45, 60 minutes in the gym, focusing on the muscle groups that you're supposed to train that day, and then leaving it for a full 7 days to recover, and then hit that muscle group again. Move on to your next muscle group the next day. So I would definitely recommend not doing the same workouts twice in the same week. Okay, that's going to produce, definitely, like you said, counterproductive. It's going to be counterproductive, and it's not going to produce results. All right, next question. Hi, Nick. When you design diets for clients, do you include all vegetables and all fruit? Or are there only a few of each that you implement into your diet plans? Okay, so when it comes to my nutritional plans, I actually only include green vegetables. And when it comes to fruit, I only include berries. So when it comes to fruit, I will include blueberries, blackberries, or raspberries. I watch fruit because fruit can be very high in sugar. And I know a lot of people will argue with me here and say, well, it's natural sugar. And what I'll say back is, I don't care. You still, as a man, have to keep your sugar levels below 30 grams a day. And as a woman, 25 grams a day. That's on average. So you want to make sure those sugar levels don't get too high. So if you're consuming fruits like pineapple and mango, well, those are really high in sugar. So you want to make sure you don't consume those fruits, especially if you're trying to lose weight and build muscle. And when it comes to vegetables, the reasons why I like to use green vegetables, same reason, is that they're lower in sugar, right? And they're like, when you look at vegetables like carrots, for example, carrots are very high in sugar. Peas are very high in sugar. So I like to use green vegetables, such as kale, broccoli, spinach, asparagus. Those are all what we call fibrous carbohydrates. So they actually help burn body fat. Okay. Fibrous carbohydrates will also keep you feeling fuller for a longer period of time. And when it comes to my green vegetables that I include in the plan, I'll usually say, okay, have a cup of broccoli or a cup of spinach, but I'll always tell the client, if you're hungry, don't even measure it. If you want to have 2 cups, go for it. Because I don't even count the calories when it comes to green vegetables. They're so good for you. They're so full of nutrients. So I do only include green vegetables in my nutritional plans. I only include, when it comes to fruit, I will include berries, blueberries, blackberries, raspberries. Occasionally, I'll throw in some bananas as well. If I'm working with someone who's ahead of schedule, if they're like, say their goal is to lose 15 pounds within the next 3 months and they're losing 2 pounds a week and they're on track, I'm like, oh, you know what? If you really like fruit, let's throw in a couple bananas here and there just to add some variety to your plan. But for the most part, no, those are I like to stick with certain fruits and certain vegetables. If I have someone that says, well, I'm really craving grapes, I'll say, great, have it for your cheat meal. Have a bowl of grapes after you have your cheat. You go for your burgers and fries or your pizza or your bowl of pasta. Have a bowl of grapes. Have a fruit salad. If you want to throw some pineapple in there, go for it. But don't have it on a day-to-day basis. All right, next question. Nick, I'm trying to lose roughly 20 pounds by summer. I love granola and yogurt and don't mind consuming this every day for breakfast and even lunch. Is it okay to eat granola while trying to lose weight though? Yeah, I would not recommend consuming granola if you are trying to lose weight. Honestly, I wouldn't even recommend consuming granola at all. Granola has come a long way though, because I remember when I first started designing nutritional plans, the granola that was out on the market was very high in sugar. So a lot of the new brands have managed to bring the sugar levels down. The problem with granola though, it's incredibly calorically dense, right? It has a lot of calories. So when you look at, for example, I know there's some granolas out there that brands that for 2/3 of a cup, it might contain 9 grams of sugar. That's not that bad, but it'll contain 250 calories. Okay. But first of all, who eats 2/3 of a cup of granola? Not many people. Most people, when they're having granola, they have handfuls of granola. It's like chips. You grab handfuls of it. So if you're actually going to have 2/3 of a cup of granola, not bad. But then what happens is you're probably going to have a little bit more than that. Let's say you have, twice that amount. Well, now all of a sudden you're going to have 500 calories and 18 grams of sugar. Well, there's more than half your sugar gone in one day if you're sticking to the guidelines that I recommend. Women, 25 grams of sugar a day, man, 30 grams of sugar a day, and that's in one meal. So I wouldn't recommend consuming granola because you don't get much bang for your buck. Okay, it's very high in calories. It's really not the most nutrient dense food. I mean, you get way more nutrients out of having foods from like oatmeal, cream of rice, Ezekiel bread than you ever will from granola, and they're much lower in calories, much lower in carbs, and much, much lower in sugar. So I wouldn't recommend consuming granola if your goal is to lose weight. And I honestly wouldn't recommend consuming granola ever, even if your goal is just to be overall healthy and fit. Again, save it for a cheat meal. Okay. But you have to look at every food that you put in your mouth. You should be looking at not just the macronutrients, but also the micronutrients, the quality of the food that you're consuming. In my opinion, granola is not up there with a good quality food source. All right. Okay. Last question. Hi, Nick. Do you ever get clients that complain about dogs in your gym? The reason I ask is because dogs aren't allowed in my gym, and I would really like to bring my dog with me when I work out. I train out at a private gym as well and have spoken to the owners, but to no avail. I think I'm getting this question because over the last few days, I've been posting a lot of dog videos and dog photos on my Instagram account of the dogs at our training facility. So when I first put out to clients that they could bring their dogs to the gym, I wasn't too sure how it would go down. I thought, okay, well, maybe this might be a little bit unprofessional because we are in a business setting. People are coming in to work out and train with us. Our dog's going to be a distraction. Are they going to shit all over the gym? Are they going to pee in the gym? And funny enough, all the dogs that come into our gym are really well behaved. A lot of dogs that come into our gym are rescue dogs. So they're older dogs and they usually come into the gym. They're very calm. A lot of them suffer from separation anxiety. So they just like to be around people. And they'll usually find a spot on the ground and lay down while their owners work out. Someone comes in, they might go to the door and greet them. But for the most part, the dogs have never been a bad distraction. If anything, they really help bring more livelihood to the gym. People put people in a better mood. I'll sometimes have people come in who I can tell are having a stressful day or they're having a shitty day. And then they see one of the dogs, and the dog comes up and greets them and wants to be pet, and will sit with them while they're undressing, that they're taking their shoes off or getting ready into their gym clothes. And they can't help but smile because the dog is right there, right? And so, I mean, who doesn't like dogs? And if you don't like dogs, even for those people that are not big dog fans, it's really hard not to smile when a dog is coming up to you and just just wants your attention. All he or she wants from you is just to be petted, and that's it. They're not asking for anything else. So the dogs bring, in my opinion, having dogs in the workplace is a good thing. I think it's great for mental health. I think it really is. I think a lot of people love having dogs. And I can speak on behalf of my clients. Every single one of my clients, they love having the dogs in the gym. I don't have a single person that has complained to me ever about having dogs in the gym. And we've been at our training facility for the past 5 years. And I have quite a few clients that have dogs, and they love the fact that they can bring their dogs to their workouts and their dogs can stay off leash and the dogs are all well behaved. And I think really it comes down to the workplace that you're in. Oh, obviously, if you're in a commercial gym, you have to be a little bit more careful and you probably can't allow dogs. But if you're in a private training facility, what I would do as an owner is I put out a suggestion box, like a real suggestion box, not the suggestion box that I joke about being our garbage bin at our gym, but a real suggestion box, and ask clients, hey, what do you think about permitting dogs in the gym? And, they might get a few people. If they say they're not okay with it, okay, then dogs don't go in your gym. But for us, people love having dogs in the gym. And I've never had a single complaint. And I know for a fact that people love having the dogs in the gym. So that is not something that I plan on ever taking out. No cats though. I'm not bringing cats in the gym. That's where I draw the line. No other animals, dogs only. I don't want cats in the gym. I'm not much of a cat person. But the dogs, they can come. So dogs are welcome into the gym anytime. So if you have a dog and you're looking for a gym to train at, contact me today and let's talk. All right, guys. Thank you so much for tuning in this week. Remember, if you do have any questions related to diet, training, or supplementation, please feel free to email them to me at nick@foreverfitperformance.com, or you can DM them to me on my Instagram at @fitcosgrove_. This episode should be going up on Thursday evening, which I believe will be March 10th. And yeah, just one more reminder too, if you like our content and you like these Q&As, please like and subscribe to the YouTube channel. It gives me a little bit more motivation to put these videos up each week. Anyway, guys, thank you so much. Have a great week, and I'll see you next week. Bye for now.